Listen to me. What if I told you that everything you've been taught about handling adversity is completely backwards? What if the very struggles crushing your spirit right now are actually the raw materials for your greatest triumph? My name is Napoleon Hill, and I'm about to reveal a secret that will shock you to your core. If you do this one thing I'm about to show you, if you force yourself to follow this system for just 30 days, you will develop an unshakable resilience that makes you virtually unstoppable. You'll look back on this moment as the turning point when everything changed. For the past 25 years, I've studied over 500 of the wealthiest, most successful individuals who ever lived. What I discovered will revolutionize how you think about hardship forever. Every single one of them had one thing in common. They all faced devastating setbacks that would have destroyed ordinary people. But they possessed a secret formula that transformed their darkest moments into their greatest breakthroughs. Most people will never discover this formula. They'll spend their entire lives running from difficulty, avoiding challenges, seeking the easy path, and they'll wonder why success always seems to slip through their fingers like sand. But you're different. You're here because something inside you knows there's more. You sense that your current struggles aren't meant to defeat you, they're meant to forge you into something extraordinary. This is not motivation, this is instruction. In the next 45 minutes, I'm going to reveal the exact system I call the hard method. A 4-step formula that the wealthy 1% use to turn every obstacle into an opportunity, every setback into a setup for something greater. This isn't theory. This is documented fact, proven by men like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Andrew Carnegie. Act like you understand this truth. Stop avoiding your problems and start embracing them as your greatest teachers. Stop running from adversity and start running toward it with arms wide open. The very thing you're trying to escape is the very thing that will set you free. But before I reveal this life-changing secret, you need to understand why everything you've been told about handling hardship is not just wrong, it's dangerous. And why the people giving you that advice are the same people who will never achieve anything significant in their lives. What I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes changed everything for me, and it will change everything for you too. The Millionaire's Hidden Study. 25 years ago, Andrew Carnegie, the richest man in America, gave me an assignment that would consume my life. He tasked me with studying the success principles of the 500 wealthiest people in the world, not just their strategies, their psychology, not just what they did, but how they thought when everything fell apart. I spent decades interviewing men like Henry Ford, who lost his entire fortune not once but twice, Thomas Edison, who failed over 10,000 times before perfecting the light bulb, John D. Rockefeller, who started with nothing and built an empire that would be worth over $400 billion in today's money. What I discovered wasn't just remarkable, it was revolutionary. These men didn't succeed despite their hardships. They succeeded because of them. Every single failure, every devastating loss, every moment when they wanted to quit, these became the stepping stones to their greatest achievements. This is law, not theory. This is documented fact, not opinion. While others teach generic success principles, what I'm about to share with you is the specific method that separates those who merely survive adversity from those who transform it into unstoppable momentum. This is the spiritual technology of wealth creation. The divine laws that govern not just financial success, but complete life mastery. Act like you understand this. There's something the motivational speakers won't tell you. There's something the self-help gurus keep hidden. They focus on the positive thinking, the visualization, the affirmations, but they completely ignore the most powerful force in human achievement, the transformative power of properly channeled adversity. This is what makes my teaching different from everything else you've heard. This is why the men I studied didn't just get rich. They became legends. They understood that hardship isn't the enemy of success. It's the raw material of greatness. Force yourself to grasp this concept. Every billionaire I studied had a moment when they could have quit, when giving up seemed logical, when continuing seemed impossible. But they possessed something that ordinary people lack. They knew how to dance with adversity instead of fighting it. But the most powerful part is coming next, and it will completely transform how you see your current struggles. In a moment, I'll reveal the exact 4-step method they used, But first, you need to understand why you've been programmed to fail when life gets difficult. The adversity trap destroying your dreams. You've been conditioned to fear adversity. From the moment you were born, society has programmed you to believe that struggle is something to avoid, that comfort is something to seek, that the easy path is the right path. This conditioning is destroying your potential. Every day you run from difficulty, you rob yourself of the strength that comes from overcoming it. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you choose mediocrity over greatness. Every moment you spend avoiding your problems is a moment you could be using those problems to build the mental muscle that creates millionaires. While you're busy seeking the easy way, the wealthy 1% are actively seeking the hard way. While you're avoiding challenges, they're creating them. While you're running from adversity, they're running toward it with the hunger of a warrior entering battle. Think about your life right now. What are you struggling with? Financial pressure? Relationship problems? Career setbacks? Health challenges? Family drama? Business failures? Here's what most people do. They complain. They blame. They make excuses. They seek sympathy. They look for someone to rescue them. They wait for circumstances to change, and this costs you everything. Do this calculation with me. Every day you remain in victim mode costs you approximately $274 in opportunity. That's $100,000 per year in lost potential. But the financial cost is nothing compared to the spiritual cost. Every day you choose weakness over strength, you die a little inside. Your confidence erodes, your dreams shrink, your vision becomes smaller and smaller until you're living a life so far below your potential that you don't even remember what you originally wanted to achieve. Force yourself to imagine this. Years from now, when you're lying on your deathbed, you won't regret the chances you took. You won't regret the risks you faced. You won't regret the adversity you conquered. You'll regret the opportunities you missed because you were too afraid to face temporary discomfort. You'll regret the person you could have become if only you had learned to embrace your struggles instead of running from them. Act like you believe this truth. Every problem carries within it the seeds of an equivalent or greater benefit. The man who loses his job discovers his entrepreneurial calling. The woman who faces bankruptcy develops the financial discipline that makes her wealthy. The person who overcomes addiction develops the strength to overcome anything. The individual who survives betrayal develops the wisdom to build authentic relationships. Your current struggles aren't punishments, they're preparations. They're not obstacles in your path, they're the path itself. They're not happening to you, they're happening for you. Stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as a student of success. Every challenge is a lesson. Every setback is education. Every obstacle is training equipment for your success muscles. But here's what 99% of people will never understand. The very struggles you're trying to escape are the exact experiences you need to develop the character, skills, and mindset required for the success you desire. The secret that changes everything is understanding that adversity is not your enemy. It's your teacher, your trainer, your greatest ally in becoming the person you're meant to be. Wait until you hear the exact method the wealthiest people use to transform any adversity into unstoppable momentum. This next revelation is worth more than everything else combined. The hard method revealed. After studying 500 of the most successful people who ever lived, I discovered they all followed the same 4-step system when faced with adversity. I call it the hard method. H, harness, the power of the struggle. A, ACT, despite the fear. R, reframe, every setback is a setup. D, dominate through persistence. This isn't just a catchy acronym. This is the hidden law of resilience that governs every great achievement in human history. This is the spiritual technology they don't want you to know because once you understand it, you become virtually unstoppable. Let me share with you the story of how I first discovered this principle. It was 1929, and I had just lost everything in the stock market crash. My life's work, years of research, my reputation, my financial security, all gone in a matter of days. I was devastated, broken, ready to quit. But then I remembered something Andrew Carnegie had told me. Napoleon, the difference between successful people and failures isn't that successful people don't face adversity, it's that they've learned to dance with it instead of fighting it. That night, sitting in my empty office, I made a decision that changed everything. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? I asked, how can I use this to become stronger? That single shift in perspective transformed my greatest failure into my greatest opportunity. The crash forced me to go deeper into my research. It stripped away my comfort and forced me to test my principles under fire. It gave me the credibility to write Think and Grow Rich, because I wasn't just theorizing about overcoming adversity, I was living it. Force yourself to understand this. When I studied the other men who not only survived the crash but thrived because of it, I discovered they all followed the same pattern. They all used what I now call the hard method. They didn't just endure their struggles, they transformed them into their greatest strengths. The H harness, the power of the struggle. The first step is to stop seeing your adversity as something happening to you and start seeing it as something happening for you. This isn't positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. When Henry Ford's first 2 companies failed spectacularly, losing investors millions of dollars, he didn't see failure, he saw education. Each failure taught him something essential about manufacturing, about leadership, about business that he couldn't have learned any other way. Those failures weren't obstacles to his success, they were prerequisites for it. Act like this is already true for you. Your biggest current struggle is preparing you for your next level of success. Maybe your financial pressure is teaching you the value of money and forcing you to develop skills you never would have developed otherwise. Maybe your relationship problems are showing you what you really need in a partner and helping you become the person worthy of that relationship. Maybe your business challenges are forcing you to innovate in ways that will give you a massive competitive advantage. Do this right now. Say aloud, my struggles are not my enemies. They are my teachers, and I am an excellent student. The wealthy understand that struggle is not something to be endured, it's something to be harvested. Every challenge contains within it specific lessons, skills, and strength that you can only develop through facing that particular challenge. The ACT, despite the fear. The second step is where most people fail. They harness the power of their struggle intellectually, but when it comes time to take action, they freeze. Fear paralyzes them. Uncertainty stops them. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. The perfect moment never comes. Thomas Edison didn't wait until he figured out the perfect filament before he started experimenting with the light bulb. He started with whatever materials he had and improved through action. He failed over 10,000 times, but each failure moved him closer to success because each failure was action, not paralysis. When John D. Rockefeller was facing bankruptcy in his early oil business, he didn't have perfect information about the market. He didn't know for certain that his strategy would work, but he acted anyway. He borrowed money, he didn't have to buy equipment, he couldn't afford to pursue an opportunity that wasn't guaranteed. That bold action in the face of uncertainty made him the richest man in American history. Force yourself to internalize this. Action cures fear. Movement creates momentum. Progress builds confidence. The people who wait for fear to disappear before they act will wait forever. The people who wait for certainty before they move will never move. The people who wait for perfect conditions before they begin will never begin. Fear is not your enemy, it's your compass. It points you toward exactly what you need to do to grow. The thing you're most afraid of is almost always the thing you most need to do. The RBAF, reframe every setback as a setup. This is where the magic happens. This is where ordinary people become extraordinary. This is where victims become victors. Every setback is actually a setup for something greater. Every closed door is redirecting you toward the right door. Every no is moving you closer to the yes that will change your life. Every failure is eliminating one way that doesn't work and moving you closer to the way that does. When I lost everything in the stock market crash, it felt like the end of the world. But it was actually the beginning of my greatest work. That setback set me up to write the most influential success book in history. Without that failure, Think and Grow Rich would never have existed. Act like you understand this spiritual law. This reframing must happen immediately. You can't wait until the dust settles. You can't wait until you feel better. You can't wait until you see how things work out. You must reframe the setback as a setup the moment it happens. The D, dominate through persistence. Here's what separates the legends from the forgotten. They persist one day longer than everyone else. The average person tries once and quits. The slightly above average person tries 3 times and quits. The successful person tries until they succeed, no matter how long it takes. When R.U. Darby was digging for gold in Colorado, he found ore, started mining, then hit granite and quit. He sold his equipment to a junk dealer for a few $100s. That junk dealer consulted with a mining engineer and discovered that the gold vein was just 3 feet away from where Darby had stopped digging. 3 feet. That's the difference between failure and fortune. Force yourself to commit to this. True persistence is intelligent persistence. It's not about grinding harder, it's about adapting smarter. It's not about doing the same thing over and over. It's about learning from each attempt and improving your approach. But the most powerful part is coming next. The exact step-by-step system for implementing each element of the hard method in your daily life. What I'm about to reveal will give you the practical blueprint that you can start using immediately. The Resilience Acceleration System. Now that you understand the hard method, let me give you the exact step-by-step system for implementing it in your daily life. This isn't theory. This is the practical blueprint that you can start using immediately. Step 1, the daily adversity audit. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you read the news, before you do anything else, you're going to perform what I call the daily adversity audit. This takes exactly 5 minutes, but it will transform how you approach every challenge in your life. Act like you're a successful person who welcomes challenges instead of avoiding them. Here's the exact process. Take out a piece of paper and write down these 4 questions. What is the biggest challenge I'm facing right now? What specific skill is this challenge forcing me to develop? What would I attempt if I knew this challenge was actually preparing me for something incredible? What action can I take today that moves me toward this challenge instead of away from it? Do this for the next 30 days without exception, and you will develop a completely different relationship with adversity. Instead of seeing problems, you'll see opportunities. Instead of seeing obstacles, you'll see training equipment for your success muscles. Force yourself to understand this example. One of my students was facing bankruptcy in his construction business. Instead of panicking, he performed the daily adversity audit. But because with Millings, his biggest challenge was cash flow. No money coming in, bills piling up. This was forcing him to learn sales, negotiation, and financial management at a level he'd never needed before. If this was preparing him for something incredible, he'd be learning how to build a recession-proof business model. His daily action was to personally visit every potential client instead of waiting for them to call him. Within 90 days, not only had he saved his business, but he developed systems that made it more profitable than ever. The bankruptcy threat became the catalyst for his greatest business breakthrough. Step 2, the Fear Forward Protocol. Fear is not your enemy. It's your guidance system. But most people run away from fear instead of running toward it. The Fear Forward Protocol teaches you to use fear as fuel instead of letting it become a roadblock. Force yourself to follow this exact protocol every time you feel fear about taking action. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 Courage Countdown. 5. Name 5 specific benefits you'll gain by taking this action. 4. Identify 4 people who will be positively impacted by your success. 3. List 3 skills you'll develop by facing this fear. 2. Recall 2 times in the past when you faced fear and succeeded. 1. Take 1 specific action within the next 60 seconds. This protocol rewires your brain to associate fear with opportunity instead of danger. Thomas Edison used a similar process. Every time he felt discouraged about his failed experiments, he would remind himself that each failure was valuable data, moving him closer to success. Step 3. The Setback Transformation Technique. This is where ordinary people become extraordinary. When most people face a setback, they focus on what they've lost. When extraordinary people face a setback, they focus on what they can gain. Within 24 hours of any setback, major or minor, you must complete what I call the transformation matrix. Column 1, what I lost. List everything negative about this setback. Don't sugarcoat it. Be honest about the pain, the cost, the disappointment. Column 2, what I learned. Identify specific lessons this setback taught you. What do you now know that you didn't know before? What skills did you develop? What weaknesses did you discover? Column 3, what I gained. List the unexpected benefits. Maybe you learned who your real friends are. Maybe you discovered inner strength you didn't know you had. Maybe you developed empathy that will help you in future relationships. Column 4, what I'll do differently. Based on what you learned, what will you do differently moving forward? What systems will you put in place? What decisions will you make differently? Column 5, how this sets me up for success. This is the most important column. How is this setback actually positioning you for something better? What opportunities does it create? What new paths does it open? I used this exact technique when my first book was rejected by 67 publishers. Instead of giving up, I filled out the transformation matrix. What I lost: time, money, ego, confidence. What I learned: my original approach wasn't working. I needed to refine my message. What I gained: thick skin, determination, a better understanding of the publishing industry. What I'd do differently: focus on proving the principles worked before trying to publish. How this set me up: the rejections forced me to create a better book that eventually sold 100 million copies. That rejection wasn't my failure. It was my preparation for unprecedented success. Step 4, the persistence amplification system. Persistence isn't just about not quitting. It's about getting stronger every time you get knocked down. This system teaches you to use each setback as fuel for your next attempt. The pay-tos formula. Plan your persistence. Set specific milestones and review points. Adapt your approach. Learn from each failure and adjust your strategy. Scale your commitment. Increase your investment with each attempt. Most people do the opposite. They start with high commitment and decrease it with each failure. Successful people start with reasonable commitment and increase it with each failure, because each failure gives them more data and more determination. When R.H. Macy failed at 7 different businesses before creating Macy's department store, he didn't decrease his commitment with each failure. He increased it. Each failure taught him something crucial about retail, customer service, and business management. Step 5, the momentum multiplication method. Once you start implementing the hard method, you'll begin building what I call adversity momentum. This is the point where challenges actually energize you instead of draining you, where obstacles become exciting puzzles to solve instead of insurmountable barriers. Act like this is already happening for you. The daily victory log. Every evening, write down 3 victories from the day. They don't have to be big victories. Maybe you made a phone call you were avoiding. Maybe you had a difficult conversation. Maybe you took one small step toward a big goal. The weekly challenge escalation. Every week, deliberately choose a slightly bigger challenge than the week before. If this week you made 1 uncomfortable phone call, next week, make 3. If this week you had 1 difficult conversation, next week, have 2. The monthly breakthrough session. Once a month, spend 2 hours analyzing your biggest breakthrough from the previous month. What made it possible? What patterns can you identify? How can you replicate this success in other areas of your life? But wait until you hear about the forces that will try to stop you from implementing this system. The next chapter reveals the hidden psychology that keeps 99% of people trapped in mediocrity and exactly how to overcome it. Destroying the failure mindset. Right now, as I'm revealing these secrets to you, your mind is already creating reasons why this won't work for you. Your subconscious is generating excuses, limitations, and fears designed to keep you exactly where you are. This isn't your fault. It's your programming. But it is your responsibility to override that programming if you want to achieve extraordinary results. Let me address the most common objections directly. Objection 1. I'm too old, young, inexperienced to start now. This is the excuse of someone who has already given up on themselves. Colonel Sanders was 62 when he started KFC. Laura Ingalls Wilder didn't publish her first Little House book until she was 65. Grandma Moses didn't start painting until she was 78. On the other end, Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook at 19. Bill Gates started Microsoft at 20. Michael Dell started Dell Computer at 19. Force yourself to accept this truth. Age is not a limitation, it's an excuse. Experience is not a requirement, it's something you gain by starting. The wealthy 1% know this secret. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Every day you use your age as an excuse is a day you're not building the life you want. Every moment you spend wishing you had started earlier is a moment you're not using to start now. Objection 2. I don't have enough money/resources connections. This is the poverty mindset speaking. Rich people start with what they have and figure out how to get what they need. Poor people wait until they have everything they think they need and never start. When Henry Ford started the Ford Motor Company, he had $28,000 in capital. That sounds like a lot until you realize he was competing against companies with millions in backing, but he didn't let lack of resources stop him. He used lack of resources to make him more creative, more efficient, more innovative. Act like you understand this. Resources are not your limitation. Resourcefulness is your opportunity. The people who are waiting for perfect conditions will still be waiting when the people who started with imperfect conditions are celebrating their success. Objection 3. What if I fail? What if people criticize me? Here's what successful people know that failures don't. You're already failing if you're not trying. The biggest risk is not taking any risks. The greatest failure is not attempting anything great. The worst criticism you'll ever receive is the criticism you give yourself for not trying. Force yourself to grasp this. Every person who has ever achieved anything significant has been criticized by people who have never achieved anything significant. When Henry Ford invented the automobile, people called it a horseless carriage and said it would never replace the horse. When Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, people said it was a novelty that would never be practical. When the Wright brothers said they could fly, people called them crazy. The people criticizing you haven't built what you're building. They haven't risked what you're risking. They haven't dreamed what you're dreaming. Their criticism is not judgment. It's jealousy disguised as concern. Objection 4. I don't have enough time. This is the excuse of someone who hasn't made success a priority. You have the same 24 hours as every successful person who has ever lived. The difference isn't the amount of time, it's how you use the time. Most people waste 3-4 hours per day on social media, television, and meaningless activities. That's 28 hours per week, enough time to build an empire if used properly. Do this calculation. Successful people don't have more time. They have better priorities. They don't watch television. They study success principles. They don't scroll social media. They network with successful people. They don't complain about their problems. They work on solutions. Objection 5. My situation is different, unique, more difficult. No, it isn't. Every person who has ever succeeded has thought their situation was uniquely difficult. Every person who has ever failed has thought their situation was uniquely difficult. The difference isn't the difficulty of the situation, it's the response to the difficulty. Your situation is not special. Your response to your situation is what makes you special. Helen Keller was deaf and blind, but became one of the most influential people of her generation. Stephen Hawking had ALS, but made groundbreaking discoveries in physics. Oprah Winfrey was born into poverty and abuse, but became one of the most successful media personalities in history. Force yourself to believe this. Your challenges are not obstacles. They're the raw materials for your success story. Objection 6. What if this doesn't work for me? Let me ask you a different question. What if it does work for you? What if implementing the hard method transforms your life in ways you can't even imagine right now? What if 6 months from now, you're looking back on this moment as the turning point when everything changed? What if your biggest regret becomes not starting sooner? The cost of trying and failing is temporary. The cost of not trying at all is permanent. But here's what I know about the hard method. It works for everyone who works it. This isn't theory. This is proven science. This isn't motivation. This is instruction based on 25 years of studying the most successful people who ever lived. The question isn't whether it works. The question is whether you'll work it. Act like you already know the answer, because deep down you do. But the most critical part is coming next. The exact protocol for implementing this system immediately, starting today. The 90-day transformation protocol. Do not wait until tomorrow. Do not wait until Monday. Do not wait until you feel ready. Do not wait until conditions are perfect. Every day you delay implementing this system costs you approximately $274 in lost opportunity. That's $100,000 per year in unrealized potential. But the financial cost is nothing compared to the spiritual cost. Every day you choose comfort over growth. You die a little inside. Every day you choose excuses over action. You betray the person you're meant to become. Right now, as you listen to this, others are implementing these principles. While you're deciding whether to start, they're already building momentum. While you're looking for reasons why it won't work, they're making it work. While you're waiting for the perfect moment, they're creating the perfect momentum. Force yourself to commit to this immediate action protocol. The next 60 seconds. Stand up right now. Look in the mirror and say aloud, I am done making excuses. I am done waiting for perfect conditions. I am done living below my potential. Starting today, I embrace the hard method and transform every challenge into an opportunity. The next 10 minutes, take out a piece of paper and write down the biggest challenge you're currently facing. One specific action you can take today to move toward that challenge instead of away from it. One fear you've been avoiding that you will face within the next 24 hours. One person you will share your commitment with to create accountability. The next 24 hours, one person you will share your commitment with to create accountability. The next 24 hours, perform your first daily adversity audit using the exact questions I gave you. Take the action you identified in step 2, regardless of how you feel. Face the fear you identified in step 3 using the Fear Forward protocol. Share your commitment with the person you identified in step 4. The next 7 days, complete the daily adversity audit every morning without exception. Implement the Fear Forward protocol every time you feel resistance. Start your failure journal and make your first entry. Choose your first weekly challenge, escalation, the next 30 days. Follow the complete hard method system without deviation. Complete your first setback transformation technique when you face your next setback, and you will face one. That's the point. Perform your first monthly breakthrough session. Begin optimizing your environment using the 5-area audit I outlined the next 90 days. This is not a suggestion. This is an instruction. This is not advice. This is a direct order from someone who has studied success longer and more thoroughly than anyone alive. For the next 90 days, commit to implementing this system with the dedication of a warrior and the precision of a surgeon. Not half-heartedly, not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient. Completely, consistently, relentlessly. Act like your life depends on it, because in a very real sense, it does. Challenge yourself with this commitment. For the next 90 days, I will implement the hard method with complete dedication. I will document my progress, celebrate my victories, learn from my setbacks, and persist until I succeed. I will become the person who not only survives adversity, but thrives because of it. Say this aloud right now, with conviction, with power, with absolute certainty. The people who make this commitment and keep it will experience transformation beyond their wildest imagination. The people who make excuses will remain exactly where they are, wondering why success always seems to happen to other people. Do this mental exercise right now. The window of opportunity is open right now, but it won't stay open forever. Your current level of motivation won't last forever. Your current clarity about what you need to do won't last forever. The time to act is now, while the iron is hot. Which type of person are you? The answer to that question will be revealed not by what you say, but by what you do in the next 24 hours. But before you take action, you need to see exactly what your life will look like when you've mastered this system. The vision I'm about to paint for you will give you the emotional fuel to persist when things get difficult. Your unstoppable future. 1 year from now, when you've implemented the hard method with complete dedication, your life will be unrecognizable. The person you'll become will be so much stronger, more confident, and more successful than the person you are today that you'll barely remember what it felt like to run from challenges instead of running toward them. Force yourself to visualize this transformation. You wake up every morning with excitement instead of dread. Instead of hitting the snooze button and checking your phone for distractions, you leap out of bed with the energy of someone who knows they're living their purpose. You perform your daily adversity audit with the enthusiasm of a warrior preparing for battle. You don't hope your day goes smoothly. You hope it presents you with challenges that will make you stronger. Your entire relationship with difficulty has transformed. When problems arise, and they will arise, you don't panic, complain, or look for someone to blame. You smile. You actually smile because you know that every problem carries within it the seeds of an equivalent or greater benefit. You've trained yourself to see opportunities where others see obstacles. Act like this is already happening. Your first thought isn't, "Why is this happening to me?" but "How can I use this to grow?" Your first emotion isn't fear or frustration, but curiosity and excitement. You've become the type of person who welcomes challenges because you know they're your fastest path to growth. People notice the change in you immediately. Your confidence is unshakable because it's not based on circumstances. It's based on your ability to handle any circumstance. Your energy is magnetic because you're no longer wasting it on worry, complaint, and resistance. Your focus is laser sharp because you've eliminated the mental clutter of victim thinking. When you walk into a room, people feel your presence. When you speak, people listen. When you face challenges, people watch to see how you handle them because they know they'll learn something valuable. Your professional life undergoes a complete transformation. In your career, you're taking risks that would have terrified the old you. You're having conversations you would have avoided. You're pursuing opportunities you would have thought were beyond your reach. And because you're no longer afraid of failure, you're achieving success at a level that surprises even you. Your colleagues notice that you're different. You're the person who volunteers for the difficult projects, who stays calm under pressure, who finds solutions instead of making excuses. You're the person others come to when they need someone who can handle the impossible. You've become the go-to person in your organization, the one who gets promoted when others get passed over, the one who earns more because you deliver more value. Your reputation precedes you. People know that when you take on a challenge, it gets solved. Do this visualization. You're earning more money, not because you've found some magic formula, but because you've developed the psychological foundation that earning requires. You're thinking like a wealthy person, acting like a wealthy person, making decisions like a wealthy person. You're no longer trading time for money. You're creating systems that generate income while you sleep. You're no longer hoping for raises. You're creating your own opportunities. You're no longer dependent on others for your financial security. You've become the master of your economic destiny. Your relationships transform completely. The people who used to drain your energy with their negativity and excuses gradually fade from your life. You're no longer available for gossip sessions and complaint festivals. You're no longer attracted to people who want to commiserate about how hard life is. Instead, you're attracting a completely different caliber of person, people who share your commitment to growth, your enthusiasm for challenges, your determination to succeed. You're building relationships with people who inspire you to be better, who challenge you to grow, who support your dreams instead of attacking them. Your family sees the change and starts asking what's different about you. Your friends notice that you're no longer the person they can count on to join them in making excuses. Your romantic relationships improve because you're attracting people who are drawn to strength instead of neediness. Force yourself to feel this reality. You've become a magnet for other successful, growth-minded individuals. Your network expands naturally because like attracts like. You're no longer settling for relationships that don't serve your highest good. Your financial situation improves dramatically, not because you found some get-rich-quick scheme, but because you've developed the mindset that wealth requires. You're making decisions like a wealthy person. You're taking risks like a wealthy person. You're solving problems like a wealthy person. You're no longer afraid of financial challenges because you know that every financial setback is actually financial education. You're investing in yourself, in your skills, in your growth, because you understand that you are your greatest asset. You're creating multiple streams of income because you're no longer paralyzed by the fear of failure. You're starting businesses, making investments, taking calculated risks that the old you would never have considered. Act like this is inevitable. Money flows to you more easily because you've developed the character and skills that wealth requires. You're not just earning more, you're keeping more, investing more, and creating generational wealth. Your health and energy levels skyrocket. When you stop fighting reality and start dancing with it, life becomes exponentially easier. You're no longer carrying the psychological weight of unresolved problems, unfinished business, and unfaced fears. You sleep better because your conscience is clear and your confidence is high. Force yourself to feel this. You have more energy because you're no longer wasting it on worry and resistance. You're stronger because you're constantly challenging yourself to grow. You're healthier because stress-related illnesses disappear when you stop seeing challenges as threats and start seeing them as opportunities. Your body responds to your new mental state. You look younger, feel stronger, and radiate vitality. People comment on how different you look, how much more alive you seem, how your presence lights up a room. Your sense of purpose becomes crystal clear. You understand that your struggles weren't punishments, they were preparations. Every challenge you've faced, every setback you've overcome, every fear you've conquered has prepared you to help others facing similar struggles. You realize that your greatest difficulties have become your greatest qualifications. Your deepest wounds have become your most powerful wisdom. Your biggest failures have become your most valuable lessons. You become a leader, a mentor, an inspiration to others. People seek you out for advice, for guidance, for the secret to your transformation, and you share generously because you understand that helping others succeed only multiplies your own success. Do this mental exercise. You've discovered your unique contribution to the world. You know why you went through what you went through. You see how every experience, good and bad, was preparing you for your current mission. Most importantly, you'll look in the mirror and respect the person looking back at you. You'll know that you're living with integrity, not just honesty with others, but honesty with yourself about who you're capable of becoming. You'll know that you're not wasting your potential, not making excuses, not living below your possibilities. Act like this vision is inevitable. You'll have the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing you faced your fears instead of running from them, that you conquered your challenges instead of being conquered by them, that you became the person you were meant to be instead of settling for the person you were. You'll sleep peacefully at night knowing that you gave everything you had to become everything you could be. You'll wake up energized knowing that each day brings new opportunities to grow, to contribute, to make a difference. This vision isn't fantasy, it's prophecy. This isn't what might happen. This is what will happen if you implement the hard method with complete dedication for the next 90 days. The person in this vision, the confident, successful, resilient person who transforms every challenge into an opportunity, that person already exists inside you. They're waiting for you to stop making excuses and start making progress. But this transformation requires one final commitment. A commitment so powerful that it will change the trajectory of your entire life. What I'm about to ask of you will separate you from the 99% who dream but never act. The commitment that changes everything. We've reached the moment of truth. Everything I've shared with you over the past hour means nothing unless you take action. All the principles, all the strategies, all the insights are worthless unless you implement them with the determination of a warrior and the consistency of a machine. This is not the end of our time together. This is the beginning of your transformation. 25 years ago, Andrew Carnegie gave me an assignment that changed my life and the lives of millions of people around the world. Today, I'm giving you an assignment that will change your life and the lives of everyone you influence. Your assignment is simple but not easy. Implement the hard method for the next 90 days without compromise, without exception, without excuse. Force yourself to understand the magnitude of this moment. Right now, you're standing at a crossroads. One path leads back to the same life you've been living, the same struggles, the same limitations, the same unfulfilled potential. The other path leads to the extraordinary life you've glimpsed in the vision I just painted for you. The choice you make in the next 60 seconds will determine which path you take. Force yourself to take these actions right now. Comment, "I am ready," if you're committed to embracing adversity as your teacher instead of avoiding it as your enemy. Don't just read those words. Feel them, mean them. Let them represent your declaration of war against mediocrity and your commitment to excellence. But don't just comment. Feel the power of that commitment flowing through your entire being. Feel yourself stepping into the identity of someone who doesn't just survive challenges, but transforms them into stepping stones to greatness. Subscribe to this channel if you want the advanced secrets that 99% of people never discover. Because what I've shared with you today is just the foundation. There are advanced techniques, deeper principles, and more powerful strategies that I share only with those who prove they're serious about transformation. In the coming weeks, I'll be revealing the advanced hard method protocols, the Millionaire Mindset Mastery System, and the spiritual laws of wealth creation that took me decades to discover and perfect. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. You know someone who's struggling right now, someone who's facing challenges, someone who's ready to give up. Send them this video. It might be the gift that changes their life forever. When you share this message, you're not just helping someone else. You're cementing these principles in your own mind. Teaching is learning, and sharing is caring for your own growth as much as theirs. Ring the notification bell so you don't miss the advanced training sessions, because success is not a destination, it's a journey. And I'll be your guide every step of the way, sharing with you the same principles that transformed ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. But most importantly, watch this video again tomorrow. Act like you understand this truth. You'll discover insights you missed the first time. You'll hear strategies with new understanding. You'll find motivation you didn't notice before. Great teachings reveal themselves in layers, and each viewing will deepen your comprehension and strengthen your commitment. Schedule it in your calendar right now. Tomorrow, same time, watch this entire video again, and the day after that, and the day after that. For the next 30 days, make this video part of your daily routine. Force yourself to recognize this reality. You wouldn't have listened this far if you weren't serious about changing your life. You wouldn't have invested an hour of your time if you weren't hungry for transformation. You wouldn't be here right now if you weren't ready to become the person you're meant to be. That person already exists inside you. They're waiting for you to stop making excuses and start making progress. They're waiting for you to stop running from challenges and start running toward them. They're waiting for you to implement the hard method and unlock the unstoppable force that you truly are. The time for waiting is over. The time for excuses is finished. The time for action is now. Every great achievement in human history began with someone who decided to stop accepting their current reality and start creating their desired reality. Today is your day. This is your moment. This is your opportunity to join the ranks of those who transform adversity into advantage, who turn setbacks into comebacks, who use their struggles as stepping stones to success. Do this commitment with complete conviction. Say aloud right now, "I commit to implementing the hard method for the next 90 days. I will harness every struggle, act despite every fear, reframe every setback, and dominate through persistence. I will become the person who not only survives adversity, but transforms it into unstoppable momentum. I will no longer accept mediocrity as my standard. I will rise to meet my potential, and I will help others do the same." Feel those words in your bones. Let them resonate in your soul. Let them become the foundation of your new identity. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll dive even deeper into the psychology of wealth creation and the spiritual laws that govern success. We'll explore the advanced hard method techniques that only the most successful 1% ever discover. But for now, your job is clear. Implement the hard method. Start today. Start now. Start with the commitment of someone whose life depends on it, because in a very real sense it does. Your dreams depend on it. Your family's future depends on it. Your legacy depends on it. The person you're meant to become depends on it. Don't let them down. Force yourself to take action. Comment, "I am ready" right now. Subscribe right now. Share this video right now. Take action right now. The future you're dreaming of is waiting for you to stop dreaming and start doing. The wealthy 1% are implementing these principles while you're still deciding whether to start. The successful are building momentum while you're still looking for excuses. The extraordinary are transforming their lives while you're still waiting for the perfect moment. Act like your transformation is inevitable, because with the hard method, it is. Welcome to your new life. Welcome to your unstoppable future. Welcome to the beginning of the greatest chapter of your story. The chapter where you stopped being a victim of circumstances and became the master of your destiny. Your transformation starts now. Make it happen.